My name is Lorrain Acuna. I have chosen the Narrative Series Project option under the Writer's Industry discipline. The name of the series I am pitching is The Incredibles Show. The show centers around the daughter of the man whose suicide attempt was thwarted by Mr. Incredible. Let's call her Mel. She is a strong advocate for laws meant to separate superhumans from society, using her father's tragedy as the main argument against the existence of superheroes. When she develops powers as the result of a car crash, she must now decide whether to use her abilities to save lives or to hide them away like she has demanded the other heroes do. In the first season, we see Mel, an immature high school student whose life was shaken by her father's attempt to kill himself and the injuries he sustained as the result of a hero's attempt to save him. We see her start out as a strong advocate for the exclusion of superhumans from society and the abolition of superheroes. When the case against superhumans ends in a verdict to ban all superheroes, a supervillain takes advantage of the lack of opposition to try and take over the city. Mel, having developed telekinetic abilities as the result of a car crash, must now decide if she is willing to risk it all for the sake of saving lives. When her double identity is compromised, she is shocked to find that acceptance from the people she saved changes her entire stance on the placing of heroes in society. The first episode opens with a shot of the court case against Mr. Incredible and the superhumans. We then see Mel encouraging her father in his fight in the courts and giving a press conference against the existence of superheroes. On her way home from the conference, she gets in a wreck. Mr. Incredible comes to the rescue of a reluctant Mel. At home, she realizes that she has developed the ability to move things with her mind, as a result of the crash that landed her in a chemical waste area. Episode 2 finds Mel doing her best to pretend she has no powers. On her way to the library at school, she notices a young man retrieve a gun from his locker. She quickly runs to set off the fire alarms, which only urges the young man to rush toward a full cafeteria, gun in hand. Mel uses her abilities to save her schoolmates, realizing that no one noticed she was the one who saved them. This inspires her to develop an alter ego, which she chooses to call the Mind. The Mind allows her to continue fighting crime while remaining an advocate against the heroes, one of which she has now become. In the final episode, Mel must face her greatest adversary. The Monster Man and his monster minions have arisen as a result of the abolition of supers. With no one to stop him, he is on his way to destroy City Hall when the Mind intercepts him. Many reporters and bystanders have crowded to see the big fight. When a group of heroes emerges from the shadows to aid the Mind, they are able to defeat the Monster Man together. In a final effort to win, the Monster Man removes the Mind's mask, revealing who she really is to the world. When the crowd responds with cheers, Mel realizes that she's been fighting against herself all along. The main character in our series is Mel. She's a high school student who believes that superheroes are a danger to society. She's developed excellent persuasive skills from her father, who sued Mr. Incredible for attempting to save him from committing suicide. Our main secondary character would be Mel's father himself. He is a trickster/shapeshifter of the series. He doesn't actually advocate or have an opinion for anything. All he wanted was to make some money from his thwarted suicide attempt, and to find some meaning in his life now that he's become a public figure and has people ensuring he doesn't attempt on his life around the clock. The Mind is Mel's alter ego. She often appears to Mel as her mentor to speak to her from her reflection in the mirror. She is the angel on her shoulder who leads her to making selfless, heroic choices. Other supporting characters include Buddy Pine. He is Incrediboy in the first movie. He also happens to be Mel's best friend. An avid hater of superheroes himself, he is Mel's main advisor in keeping her on the path against heroes. Mel's mother is a suffering almost widow who has made herself the victim of life. Always in search for something to fill the void, she secretly wants to end her marriage, but feels too guilty to leave her husband. The Monster Man is the main villain in our series. A tumultuous upbringing has led him to hate all heroes and humans alike. The abolition of supers gives him the big break he needs to make his move against humanity. When the top advocate for the elimination of superheroes develops superpowers, she must decide whether to use them for good or hide them away at the risk of losing lives. Buddy Pine is likely to be the most popular secondary character of the series. For one, he is a character that was introduced in the film. He is the character that you love to hate, a faithful friend to Mel, but also her worst advisor, always encouraging her to make the most selfish choice. This story is aimed at young teens, mostly male, who would normally be the ones watching Disney XD. However, if it was aimed at, say, adults, there are some changes that would be made. For one, Mel's character would change from being the suicidal man's daughter to being his lawyer. And in place of Buddy Pine, we would introduce a love interest. Regardless of who the story is aimed for, the story of Mel is bound to be one that draws the attention of many, making the incredible show a huge success.